Hello dear traders, and welcome to watch our next interview with Eric Vogel, our founded trader and also our strategic partner from USA. Eric Vogel is not only a trader but also a co-founder of Circularr blockchain. In this video you'll find out how did Eric Vogel pass his funded account and about his company and of course about his plans for HyroTrader. Enjoy. Hello, Eric. It's nice to meet you in live. In Zoom call because I saw you many times in a Discord of HyroTrader. You're very active there. So, my first question will be, of course, tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you do, and how did you end up in HyroTrader?
No, perfect. No, I appreciate you having me here as well. It's been a pleasure. Really enjoyed trading with HyroTrader. Been in the crypto space now probably since 2012, 2013. Predominantly kind of just following other projects and investing. Wasn't trading back then at that time. What I was doing on top of that as well is I'm a serial entrepreneur. So a few different businesses, mainly in the software space and fintech space. So I had a few different ventures. I kind of scaled, exited, grew some failed, some succeeded. So been down that path. Also been down the path of being involved in ICOs and all that in the early days, and doing very well, and also getting rugged and losing on some of them too, as I'm sure a lot of people have been through. At the moment, I'm originally from upstate New York. Now I'm living in London, although I decided to escape the winter, and I'm in Bali at the moment. So I think that's one thing I really enjoy about being an entrepreneur and being able to work kind of from anywhere in the world, just meeting new people and the ability to trade and make money and not have to commute to an office is a big win. So I've done that for plenty of years, and I'm definitely glad to not have to take the tube or the train and all that back and forth to an office every day anymore. And Hyro is really bringing together, along with some other prop firms, these opportunities for people to have that ability to kind of break free from that, routine that we've all had to go through to get to where we are. And there's nothing wrong with that, but obviously trying to get out of it is definitely something I highly recommend to everybody.
I see. But how did you end up in UK from USA? It's such a big difference, and English is also very different there. Like this accent.
Yeah, so
it's tough for you to understand.
It's a bit crazy. I've been on the move traveling ever since I was young because of my parents for their work. So even when I was a child, I grew up in Southeast Asia for a bit, went back to the US, went back to Europe. So lived and worked in many countries throughout the time, and I kind of grew the itch at a very early age to travel. I didn't like being in one place for too long. Probably the UK is actually the longest I've lived anywhere consistently without moving. But it's nice having, the big airports there, which is really easy to get out, or obviously the train station stuff as well, to get around, which is good.
But did you move there because of your work? Was it
So
something
at the time, I had a software company, like doing apps, websites, stuff like that, that I exited, and I was building like a sports betting platform where you could buy and sell teams, and you're selling shares in those teams based on the performance of the pitch. It's like a gamified stock market for sports. Sold that off to a family office in the Middle East, out of all places. Kind of a weird place to exit a gambling business. And then I met my business partner in another business in the sustainable and recycling space, who is based in the UK. So I came back over and moved into the UK, worked with him, did some work in the advertising space for a while, some of the big ad agencies, did some more freelancing stuff, scaled another couple of businesses. I ended up moving actually over to Poland for a bit. That's where my wife is from originally. So I lived over there, ran another software business over there, and then moved back from Poland back to London and kind of hopped around all over the place.
I see. And I was reading in your LinkedIn that you are the owner, the CEO, co-founder of Circularr. Can you tell me more about this? What does it do? What is the company about?
Yeah, no worries. So I set up Circularr. So that's probably one of the latest ventures I've been working on. And what that is it's a refi ecosystem that focuses on tokenizing recycled commodities. So think of a real world asset play where effectively what we wanted to do in a very simple sense is a recycle to earn ecosystem. So looking at like deposit return schemes, which exist in different parts of the world, very common in the Nordic regions, where you pay a tax on a
Uh-huh.
plastic bottle, aluminum can, or glass, and then you return that bottle and you get, a paper ticket and the voucher and the cash back to the shop or money off your groceries. And what we wanted to do is look at how we can expand that beyond those geographical borders or regions where it may be limited in that territory, where we
Mm-hmm.
can reward consumers all over the world for recycling, but then also provide provenance and tracking of those materials as they go through the supply chain. So a big thing when it comes to recycling is some people might look at it and go, well, it doesn't matter if I recycle because it's not going to make a difference, right? It's going to end up in a landfill or the oceans or whatever it is. What we
Yeah.
wanted to do is hold both businesses and consumers accountable for that, and then utilize the provenance or traceability of that material as it's deposited, whether it's in a reverse vending machine, a smart bin, a collection point, all the way through the supply chain until it's pelletized or
Mm.
upcycled into other materials. So there's a B2B side of the business from the provenance and tracking, which solves that challenge. And then the consumer side is the utility aspect of Circularr, where we tokenize and give the reward to the user for recycling, which they can then use that token is exchange for other crypto,
Yeah.
swap it to fiat currency, or use it for rewards and points to kind of engage with a recycle to earn platform.
That's cool. And does it work in US right now only, or is it possible to use also in Europe?
Yep. So at the moment, we're actually headquartered in the UK. So we've been
Uh,
building and looking at, and we're actually at the moment, we're finishing up an equity and token raise round at the moment. And then we'll be going live with the token. We've been doing pilot schemes with some pretty big brands. So we did some stuff with NatWest and RBS, where we've been put Royal Bank of Scotland, sorry, where we've been putting these technology into reverse vending machines at like Canary Wharf, Victoria Place, some of the other network rail stations, where we're just collecting data at the moment. So it's not giving any rewards or anything like that, but it's just looking at how consumers engage with the machines, are they being used, and how can we refine it to ensure that we can then move to the next step of the reward aspect and the tokenization.
mhm.
We did a similar thing with Aramco in Australia at the Cricket World Cup, where we deployed a number of machines with another company. So we're looking at how those machines could be integrated into stadium environments where people could put beer cups, bottles without labels, and using like AI image recognition to determine, is it a beer cup? Is it a bottle? Because, if someone rips a label off of it, at the moment, the way a deposit return scheme works, you need that barcode and it needs to be a single use product. It can't be part of a multi pack, where we want to make sure that we could reward for all different types of plastic, because that plastic has a value that the recycler or the manufacturers will pay for or use. But as consumers, when we're paying for the product and we're consuming it, we don't think of the empty bottle as worth
Yeah.
anything, right? Unless you have the tax behind it. But there is actually a huge industry behind it. It's over a $45 billion a year industry of the
Insane.
single-use PET that's being traded between recyclers and manufacturers now. And we want to allow that to be democratized between the
Yeah.
people who are actually consuming the products at the moment. And then also ensuring that we're not using virgin materials in the production of new bottles, phone cases, whatever it might be,
Mhm.
but we can reuse materials that are already
Yeah.
in existence.
That's cool.
Obviously, you'll need virgin materials along the way, but if we can reduce the amount of virgin materials that are needed to be utilized, that's the end goal, basically.
Amazing ideas that you made, and I hope that it will succeed in the whole world, because I think it's a really useful thing, and people will be motivated, to recycle the things that are thrown, because I know that more people just don't care because they don't see the value, as you said,
Yeah,
in
exactly. They don't
that
see the value and they
bottle.
don't think it makes a difference. A big
Yeah.
example I always give is when it comes to charity. Like, people like to donate to charity or do the right thing, but in the back of some people's minds, you may say, well, is that money really going to that cause that I'm donating?
Yes,
Or is it
exactly.
going to buy somebody a Lamborghini behind the
Yeah,
scenes
yeah.
that owns that charity? And if there was that transparency, even in the donation space, people
Mm-hmm.
would donate more, because you know that the money that you're putting in or whatever you're putting towards it is actually going towards that cause. And
Mm-hmm.
our belief, obviously, we need to launch fully and get it out there and see if it takes off. Our belief is when we do that for recycling, the same will hold true. Because when
Mm-hmm.
companies are giving you their sustainability goals or all these data points that they're doing all this recycling, you can actually hold them accountable because you can see that. There's no way that you could fake it or just throw a number up on a website.
Yeah.
And so you can then follow your plastic and be rewarded for it. So it says, okay, I will go out of my way to recycle this or segregate that waste in my house because it is going to make a difference. And what's in it for me? Well, I'm actually getting something out of it in return.
Amazing, amazing. I hope that will like work all over the world. Now I have a question, like how did you found HyroTrader, and tell me about this journey.
Yeah,
And why
no.
did
So
you
it was,
decide to co-work with HyroTrader? Like what did you like?
yeah, no, it's a great question. I think from my side, so again, I've been trading now for probably about 2, 3 years.
Okay.
And obviously was trading predominantly my own capital or, money that I was kind of playing around with as I was learning and,
Yeah,
ups and downs
I
and all
understand.
that. And always was looking for, I've heard about like prop firms when it came to like
Mhm.
Forex or indices and stuff like that. I trade a little bit in Forex, but I'm not that great. And it's not really what I'm passionate about. I'm definitely more into crypto, especially just being in the space for so long. So I was always looking for a platform where I could trade crypto with this. And as I was learning and getting more experience, took a lot of learnings from one of my good mentors. So it's Crypto Wizards, actually the platform that I've been using to learn and expand my knowledge in trading. It's been phenomenal for that. But I wanted to then apply that learning to a bigger pool of capital. But because I had all my businesses, I wasn't looking to take the capital from that
Yeah,
and that I'm
I understand.
investing into the actual company, like my day to day, and
Yeah.
take the risk to go straight to crypto without having kind of more experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so I come across some different platforms of doing some Google searches, couldn't find any prop firms that supported cryptocurrency or the ability to trade directly on ByBit.
Mm-hmm.
And then something happened. I think it was like a LinkedIn article or something I stumbled across that Hyro put out, said, oh, a prop firm on ByBit. And it was like, I couldn't really sign up at the time when I first found that, but I was like reading about it. I looked at the Hyro thing. It's like, okay, I'm going to bookmark this and come back. And then eventually I just stumbled across the website again. It let me sign up. I think I was meeting with Samuel, so the CEO. I was in the Discord. He started talking to me because I think I was in the Discord very early on as one of
Yeah.
the first people or whatever in the platform. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to give this a shot. I signed up, I think, for like the starter challenge, like a 5K or 10K challenge initially,
Mm-hmm.
just to see that what I wanted to do with any prop firm I've been in is always test it out, make
Yeah.
sure that A, it's good, B, you really get the account, C, they really pay out when you reach the payout stages and so forth. And then I go for a larger challenge after that. And it was a really smooth process. I signed up, got a demo account, was directly in ByBit, which was awesome
Yeah.
because I tried some other ones, but they force you to be on MetaTrader 4 or 5.
Yes. Yes.
Problem is some of these other ones, I won't name them obviously, but some of these other ones, they'll have swap fees or they'll have random commissions or they'll have scam wicks that don't line up to
Mm.
Binance or Bybit or any of those exchanges. So if you're trying to use TradingView in your charts,
Yeah.
well, you might be in a trade that never hit stop loss on your chart or on the platform,
Mm-hmm.
but that other prop firm just has low liquidity or whatever, and they just scam you out, and then you lose the trade. Where what I liked about Hyro is I'm in Bybit. There's no additional commission. There's no additional swap fees. I can set my leverage independently for each trade based on what
Yes.
Bybit
Yes.
offers,
Mm-hmm.
and I have access to all the instruments. Because when I was searching, and there was a few out there that do crypto, but the
Mm-hmm.
problem is some of them would have like a defined list of like 30 assets or 100 assets, where I just said, no, I just want to be able to trade what I trade now normally, but for prop firms so I can pass. So I can use the same strategies, everything that I'm doing, and apply it to a prop firm and hopefully grow, to manage multiple bits of capital and scale that up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's how your journey started in HyroTrader.
Yeah, so I found it, took the plunge, passed the initial small, I think 5K it was that I started with, got that funded. So I'm funded with that one. And then I've already gone back in and now in for another one for a bit larger as well. And I am funded with other prop firms. So I have done kind of this experiment with others, but Hyra is definitely, when it comes to crypto, my favorite one.
I see. I see. Well, nice to hear that. But I also like that this ability to trade on ByBit. It's really comfortable, and the ability to trade any coin that exists on ByBit, it's really awesome, because I know also some prop firms, they don't have this capacity of the amount of coins that you can trade, and it's really sometimes it's not comfortable, because you know that market has the cycles when it's very active, when it's just sideways, but there are still some coins that can give you a good opportunity to trade, but you don't have it on those prop firm platforms because they usually have this classic list of old coins that you can trade, you know. And on
Yeah,
ByBit, you can either trade the new one, new listed coins, whatever you want. So
yeah,
yeah, it's
exactly.
amazing opportunity.
No, I think that another good point that I forgot to mention is the ability to do both margin trading or spot trading. So I
Mm-hmm.
really like that, where I could, because some of the strategies and what I'm looking at from Mentor and other folks that I'm obviously learning from is what assets do you buy or swing trade, right? Without any
Yeah.
leverage. But so I can actually purchase the asset. But the best part is, well, myself, if it was my own capital, then I'm obviously risking it. Right? I can't go buy a huge, $50,000 position like I could with a Hyro account that's funded. But with a Hyro account, I can buy a large position of an asset with no margin and swing it over a long period of time. You know what I mean? Where I'm not getting eaten with the funding fees and so forth. If I believe that there's going to be a longer term uptick or downtick in an asset that you're trying to short, which is really nice. And being able to do both the margin and the spot at the same time is really nice too. When it comes to the white paper for Hyro, after I passed the challenge, I think one of the things I really liked is I got reached out to. I think your colleague Romney originally reached out to me, and then Samuel followed up as well. So I had a really good phone call with them. That's the first time that's ever happened with any of the prop firms I've been on. I mean, I got an email or maybe like a friendly message on a Discord from some of the others, but never had like a 40-minute just like, hey, how was it? What's the feedback? What could we make different? And I thought that was kind of a nice touch, that they actually cared, because some of the other prop firms kind of almost feel weird when you ask to get your money out because they get a bit defensive sometimes when that happens. And I spoke with Samuel, I had a really good chat with him, and I was just giving feedback because obviously I was really passionate about what Hyro's doing, and I think that there's a huge potential where it could go. And he asked me, look, he knew what I was doing at Circularr, he knew about my background in tech, and he said, would I be interested in also giving some advice as like a consultant
Mm-hmm.
for the business? And I said, of course, I'd be happy to, because A, it benefits me as a trader, as a funded trader on the platform, and B, hopefully I can help shape it into a company where I can bring some more of my colleagues and partners into
Mm-hmm.
the platform, but also, see it succeed. Because that's what I
Mm-hmm.
love doing as an entrepreneur. I love getting in and helping other entrepreneurs
Mm-hmm.
with the business, whatever that is, especially in the tech and blockchain space.
Cool.
So I think the white paper really excites me, and I liked how Samuel is really receptive to the idea of how we look at including the community, giving kind of reward or utility token that obviously allows them to get, discounts on challenges, increased leverage, wider stop loss placements or drawdown percentages that can be utilized, and allows them to also vote as the ecosystem grows, because obviously
Mm-hmm.
Hyro, beyond just the prop firm, is looking at what they do, what projects Hyro gets behind, what they get in. So it's kind of like a platform for traders built by traders, versus a prop firm that's just built there to make money for the
Yeah, yeah,
investors,
yeah. Yes, yes.
which is quite good. Well,
Tell me about your journey in trading. Why did you decide to start trading? It's really risky, and as you said,
yeah,
the ups and downs.
uh, the
Tell me about your
adrenaline, I
journey. How
guess,
did,
is the
yeah,
is the
how was
key.
it?
Yeah, no, when I first started, like probably most people, I'm not gonna lie, when I first started, I definitely lost a lot along the way, to the point where I was like, why am I doing this? Like I should just hold the assets and not have all the stress of staring at charts and what have you for day in and day out. Obviously been down the road of trying to watch the YouTube videos and all those strategies. It's just there's no magic key when it comes to that. And I think, okay, someone telling you they have this and they're trying to sell you a course or whatever, most likely they're making money from the course, not from trading, right? Why would they need to charge for a course for it? But then I did stumble across one. It was probably the last one. I was like, okay, fine, I'll give it one more shot. And that was the Crypto Wizard one I always talk about in the Discord. And with him, it was a one-time fee. I said, okay, fine, I'll take one last plunge, see where it takes me. I joined that community probably about 2, 3 years ago. One-time fee, nothing else to pay. I made way more back from that than I ever thought. And because of what I learned from him, that's why I wanted to start taking prop challenges and looking at how I could get funded to apply the strategy, the teaching, the signals, the trades, the stuff that he gave. And that's what changed me from being kind of just up and down.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm winning, sometimes I'm losing, to a consistent, profitable trader. Obviously, of course, there'll be times where I just don't trade. And that's probably one of the big lessons I learned from him as well, is like, don't force trades, be
Yeah.
patient. Sometimes you might not trade at all. And that's actually better than just trading just for the sake of trading, because you end up losing money. So having that patience and learning the whole psychology behind it is really cool. And I think what I enjoy about it was all those processes, right? It kept my mind occupied, kept me busy when I wasn't doing the business or this. It's something I could get into. And I just was really passionate about learning how I could grow it, how I could compound. And I knew that
Mhm.
this would bring additional streams of revenue, but also being an entrepreneur that's funding my own company, how can I also generate more? Because right now I'm just chucking money into startups or ideas and stuff like my own. Obviously, I've gone with things that worked and gone with things that failed, but I needed to also have additional revenue sources where I can have that capital, because I don't want to raise equity in a business too early. But if I'm able to fund it myself,
Yeah.
that was the way. But obviously, it's okay. Well, how do I do that? In the past, I was working multiple jobs and trying to juggle all those things, which maybe just wasn't effective. We're learning how to trade, being profitable, ideally passing challenges and being funded gives me that capital that I don't have to focus on other
Yes.
jobs or workflows,
Mhm.
and focus just on my business and on trading, which is the
Mhm.
the dream. And that then allows me to travel and do the things that I'm
Yeah.
doing now as well.
I see. I heard about this crypto wizard and I was reading about them and they have really amazing reviews and I think they have one of the biggest community
Yep.
in this online business, let's say, trading
Yeah.
business. Yeah, and it's cool. I like you're the first person from who I hear about them. I was only reading online as different, and now you're like the real person who can say like, yes, like I've been with them and they helped me with
Yeah,
this.
no, I definitely did. Like, I know it sounds like, because I was always skeptical about all those things too.
Mhm.
Like I said, I've tried and I've been in so many different ones that have worked and not worked and lost money and all that. That was probably the last straw, but it is, I just can't say too much about it, but I would say that learning from him, it's not like he's not some 20-year-old, on a computer
Mhm.
with a light and teaching
Okay.
people how to trade. His background and stuff is very, very impressive, and you're learning from a proper institutional trader with a lot of experience. So it's more than just here's a signal, take a trade. You're actually learning a lot. He takes you through how the airdrops to do, not to do. There's giveaways, there's competitions. He analyzes, if you have questions, he responds to you so you can improve yourself. So it's like having a mentor, but in a large
Mhm.
community where
I
you actually get
see.
that kind of one-on-one time and stuff. And the whole community is working together because everyone wants to be a profitable trader. It's not just,
Yes.
hey, give me a trade, give me a
Yeah,
signal.
yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
grow. It's a fantastic place. And like I
Cool.
said, it's helped me pass. I think a few of my friends from the community have joined Hyro as well and in some challenges as well. So let's see if they pass their challenges as well.
Cool. So, what is your advice for people, for traders about psychology? What helped you to improve your psychology in trading? Any
Yeah, so for
any
me,
books?
I think I got a little bit of benefit even before I started trading, being an entrepreneur and going through extreme levels of stress. When you have those times of, obviously with trading, you have the time when a trade goes against you and is near your stop loss and you might be a bit nervous. Being an entrepreneur, it's those times where the bills are coming up for the rent and for the employees and the staff, and you don't know where you're going to get the cash to pay everyone. And you work right to the 11th hour to work it out, or you live on cereal and toast to make it happen for everyone. So I think I'm used to that high pressure environment, so it didn't phase me as much. Like, I was able to separate the emotions from it. And then probably a big thing I learned, I always knew risk management was important, but probably learned a really effective risk management strategy once I joined. Again, going back to the crypto wizard, there's a lot of that stuff inside there, but that's really opened my eyes to it about, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I shouldn't be just like launching into tons of trades without a real clear strategy and plan, following kind of a more methodological approach to how I
Mhm,
go through this,
mhm,
right? So, or methodical, sorry, that's the word I was looking for,
mhm.
approach to ensuring that I'm being consistent. I'm not like entering a trade, putting however much for the risk into the stop
Yeah.
loss, and then the next trade is like completely different, right? And so maybe I'm risking, I don't know, $100 on one trade, and then the other trade 1,000. It doesn't make sense, right? Following more of a consistent strategy, and then getting into a set it and forget it approach. Don't panic. If it goes against you, you're not going to win 100%. No matter how good you think you are, no matter who you are, You're never going to win 100% of the trades. So understanding that you have to be able to accept the loss and deal with the loss just like you deal with the winners, and so breaking the emotion out of it. I used to play poker for a while as well, so probably used to that as well. A game of probabilities and luck is you win some, you lose some, right? And as long as you focus on a strategy where you're using a risk reward aspect where your reward is higher than your risk, well, you can afford to lose a trade, because
Yes.
then if when you win, well, if you're winning a 2-1 or a 3-1 or whatever it might be, well, you can compound that and you don't have to win 100% of the time. You can be effectively profitable winning 60% or 65% of the time, or even less if you have a higher risk reward. And then the big thing for me, as well as another thing I learned from that group, is making sure to not just leave my stop loss where it is when I enter, but once I hit profit, don't get greedy. Don't worry if it's going to pull back and hit break even, but moving the stop loss up to your entry point. So once you've secured some profit, you move up, then you can forget about it because it's risk free. And then
Yeah.
you can look for another position in the same asset. Okay, yes, you run the risk that it will reverse a bit and might hit your entry point, but then you're not losing. You've made money on that trade. And
Yeah.
that was a big thing I didn't do previously.
Mm, I see. And how do you manage the stress when you lose some trades? Like, what do you do? Do you stop trading for
Yeah.
the whole day, or what are your steps?
Probably take a step away. Again, I don't try to let it get to me.
Mm,
So typically, worst case, I'll maybe just walk away from the computer for the room, go for a quick walk, shut the computer off for a bit. Depending on the time of day, maybe just go take a shower. If I'm near somewhere I can take a swim, just go for a swim just to clear your mind.
yeah.
To not just get in and say, "Oh, I'm gonna make it back. I'm gonna just jump in
Yeah.
another trade or whatever." Because I think that's what a lot of traders do. It's just like a human instinct, right? Is getting into revenge trading or letting it. The minute you let your emotions take over in anything, whether it's business or trading, is the minute you fail. Like you might get lucky and you get a revenge trade, you go crazy and you ape into something and it wins, but that's just not the right way to do it. And I've been there before, even with poker. I've been there in the past where I play in a tournament, you're in the tournament for so long, for hours and hours and hours, you bubble out, whatever it is, and then you just want to go and play a bigger hand because you want to try to make
Yeah.
it back plus more. I have done that. I'm not perfect, obviously, but I've definitely tried to stop doing that.
What was the biggest loss in trading? Some specific.
Uh, Biggest loss. I mean, all of us probably got hit by FTX. Luckily, I didn't have too
Oh,
much in there
yeah.
when that happened, but that was definitely painful, especially because I was giving a presentation. I remember this clearly. I
Oh,
was giving a presentation at the time, in person, so I was speaking on a stage, and I couldn't obviously get on my phone or just walk away. And my phone's blowing up. I'm seeing notifications in WhatsApp, like all my mates, like get off FTX, like close this, like, but there wasn't anything I could do. So unfortunately lost what was in there. In terms of a trade, probably the biggest trading day loss I've had, probably about 10 to 12,000. So not a lot of money, but not awful in the grand scheme of things to what other people in terms of like the allocation and size I was in. But it definitely made me open my eyes to the percent risk that I was putting on trades.
yeah.
Um, that's for sure.
Yeah, but FTX, it was painful. I remember
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Got
Just,
lucky. Luckily, definitely learned to keep it all on cold storage. A big lesson I learned from the community at the moment, and never again. Only what I'm trading will I keep on the exchange. And that's another thing I like about Hyro, because at the moment it's all managed for
yes.
me. Right? So I don't
Hmm.
have. I still have the capital, and if anything happens, it still gets reimbursed to me. I don't have the risk there, which is nice. That's another benefit.
Yeah, you
Um,
don't keep your own capital in a exchange. I mean, a big amount of the capital in an exchange.
Well, and I think the other thing I forgot to mention is a valid point for anyone from the US like myself. That's another thing I like with Hyro, because I wasn't sure if I could use it because of it being ByBit and with all the KYC and AML
Hmm.
regulations that are coming around. However, when I spoke with Samuel, he explained that obviously when I get funded like I am now, I sign an independent contractor agreement with Hyro, but I'm working with Hyro. So I do my KYC and AML with all of you, where I don't need to register on ByBit, and then I'm trading under
Yeah,
your
true.
account under ByBit,
Hmm.
which is a huge benefit because
Yeah.
it's like, oh wow, okay, this is really nice. I don't have to go down some weird route and do all this KYC stuff. I can just trade on ByBit without any stress, which as an American is a massive benefit. Well,
Yeah, I also was reading that most prop firms that don't cooperate with US citizens. For example, very known FTMO prop firm, I think recently they stopped cooperating with US citizens.
yeah,
And yeah, most people were like upset and they were like, why?
yeah.
before
I know
before
it's
they had to manage like they had the access to trade, and now like this regulations and all this things, you know, by law side have to cut permission for US citizens, which is not fair, I think. Like if you
yeah,
are
exactly.
US citizen, doesn't mean that you are not allowed to trade. Like what the fuck, you know?
Yeah, I know it's very
I think
difficult.
it's
It's
so
the same thing.
unfair.
It
Like
was very unfair. The same thing, even raising capital for my Circularr in the US. Like I couldn't get individuals and stuff that might have wanted to buy tokens or whatever in a SAFT agreement as a US citizen, unless you have all the Reg D and all this stuff in place. It was impossible. It's changing a little bit, but it's just like it's so difficult
yeah,
when it comes to that.
I know
And
some people
it's
from
needed
US.
now.
I know some traders from US who try to trade, but it's so complicated. Like for me, it's like something different system, something different
Yeah.
world. You know, like I don't understand. Like why it's so hard? You know, I
Oh,
don't
exactly.
have to
Oh, and then the
understand here. I
taxes and
cannot just
everything is.
buy, or I should trade only at that certain exchange, only this few coins. You know, it's like oh my god.
Yeah, and then you have rules on leverage and all kinds of crazy stuff. So, yeah, the joys of being an American in the crypto space is difficult to say the least, unless you
Well,
know
I
your way
hope
around.
they will make it better soon, because this is our world right now. Like crypto is everywhere, so hopefully
Yeah,
they will find a way how everyone will be able to trade freely and enjoy this industry, crypto industry.
yeah, exactly. And I hope so too.
Tell me about your trading strategy. Are you more swing trader or you prefer scalping?
Yeah, definitely more of a swing or intraday trader. So predominantly on the 1 hour or 4 hour time frames. So I don't do any of that crazy, 5 minute or 1 minute charts or any of that stuff you see a lot of people on YouTube and all that doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely. Also, it's much easier. Running a business, doing other things, not having to like be glued to the charts every second of the day. Second thing is you learn a lot more about how the market moves
Mhm.
in the higher time frames. On the lower time frames, I mean, you got to be wired to be to be watching that like crazy. It's just you can't really get a bias, in my opinion, from a
Mhm.
lower time frame like that. Of course, you can scalp and you can make money, and people do it, but that's just not me, and not what I'm looking to do.
I see. And do you have any favorite coins? I know that many people like obsessed with only Bitcoin or only Matic or only XRP. Like,
Yeah.
you know, some people have these favorite coins, let's say.
The biggest thing I could say is detach. I used to have that in the past. Obviously, used to be fanboy, I guess, of certain assets. At the end of the day, anything that has volatility and will move, I'll trade it. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's an industry, a commodity, a crypto asset. As long as it can be traded, I think that's where I've kind of evolved to and learned. Again,
Mhm.
after being a crypto wizard and all that as well, it's one of the big things there is don't get attached to something. But if you
Yeah.
can trade it, trade it. Because the problem is if you get attached to an asset, so say I had a particular asset that was my favorite, and I only focus on that, well, I'm missing other opportunities. At the end of the
Yeah,
day, the goal as a
exactly.
trader
Hmm.
is to
Hmm.
accumulate and make money, right? It's not,
Yeah.
oh, my favorite asset hasn't pumped today, so I'm not going to trade today. Type
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah, yeah. Just I know some
thing.
people that say like only, for example, they do only Matic or only XRP, you know, or I will buy like bag of XRP and will hold it 10 years, you know, and so on.
Yeah,
Or only Bitcoin with Ethereum, you know, classic, because they know more about their moves of these two
yeah.
coins and they're fine, you know. That's why I'm curious
Well,
how about you.
yeah, it does make sense. Like I understand why some people will do that as well, especially if you are busy, like because it's less things to look at. But I think at the end of the day, you kind of have a suite of things that you look at when you understand how things impact one another. It's part of what I've been learning there as well. You could do a lot, and I think moving beyond that, it just depends on what you want, right? If you're
Mhm.
happy, an asset, you believe it. I think one thing that's funny is when I hear people say, "Oh, well, I know this asset moves like this," it always says it. Okay, well, you can't, there's no way of knowing, right? It's
Yeah.
not exactly how that works. So I think that's kind of like the gambler's fallacy with a casino, right? Oh, if I play roulette and I put my chips on this number, it's going to happen because, this is how it always works if they spin it
Yeah.
this way.
Yes. Yes.
So, there might be some slight probability adjustments and stuff in that, but I don't think a past event can't impact it in that
Mhm.
sense. If that makes, the same chance of hitting zero 3 times in a row. It doesn't make it different just because the number came up.
Mhm.
Basically.
Mhm. And do you invest in any crypto coins, in the crypto coin projects?
Yeah, so I have a few different projects I look at. Predominantly, obviously, I've been in, probably a lot of people hate me when I say this, but I've been in XRP for a while, for quite a while since the beginning. So I'm holding that one for a bit. Obviously, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, they're kind of all the major ones there. It's just like a
Mhm.
nice diversified portfolio. And then, of course, there's some other assets that I get involved with as well, some of which were given as recommendations by Crypto Wizards. So I just can't say what they are on this call,
I
but have
see.
done really well from this. I just it's not my position to say that publicly, obviously, what those are. But
Yeah. And how about AI projects? AI coins are really popular right
yeah, I've
now.
been looking at them. Definitely been looking at trading some of them as they come up, and obviously doing some research and trying to find the right ones to potentially get involved with. I think a big thing with anything, whether it's in crypto or even when it's in business, is anytime there's new hype or new push,
Yeah.
right? It's like
Yeah.
you want to be on that bandwagon and try to catch the right ones. But unfortunately, there's also a lot of just nonsense out there, right? People trying to capitalize on the booming space, saying it's attached to an AI project or initiative or whatever it is. Come to find out, you read the white paper, you go through everything that doesn't have any legs to stand on, right? It was just a quick project someone's trying to make to rake in some quick cash and be done. And other projects, obviously, very, very good. So I think one thing I always recommend to anyone is make sure you don't just run into any project just because someone told you about it. Just always do your own research, look into it, look at the team, read the white paper, ask questions, get involved in the discords and communities. I've just seen, unfortunately, friends, family, etc. I've seen too many people just hear the hype of it, know that I'm involved with it, and say, "Oh, Eric's doing that. Okay, yeah, this friend of a friend told me about this project. I'll just put money." I was like, first of all, why didn't you invest in the project that I'm actually doing and growing? And second of all, why didn't you at least ask for an opinion before you just sent all this money to some random the projects? And unfortunately, I think we still see that from time to time. It's been better since the ICO stuff has kind of cracked down a little bit, but I just remember those days, like the Wild West, where people were just, you hear all the things about people making crazy money, but you hear the things about people just losing ridiculous amounts of money in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
scam.
Yeah. Yes, it's true. I speak Russian, and I'm also sitting in Russian speaking communities, and it's crazy how there this big community scam these poor people, they tell about some tokens that can make, I
Yeah,
don't know, 100x, because they have some information,
yeah,
and people believe and they start buying because I think it's also psychology of the people that to believe in something, some miracles, that oh, I will invest and in one day I will have some cash from this, project,
yeah.
free money, why not? And yeah.
Well, some people get lucky, right? But I think a big thing I always say, whether it's business, whether it's crypto, whether it's investing, if something seems too good to be true, generally is. Always keep that thought in the back of your mind.
Yeah,
And at the same time, trying, yes, it's possible to get crazy returns. Is it possible to get crazy returns overnight? Is it possible to
but
become
I
a
think you should
successful
be lucky
trader
first
overnight?
of all.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's just, I think it's the same even with me. Like when I started trading, I didn't just become profitable day one. I lost a lot along the way. I learned the hard way multiple times. I went down that path, ended up making that last splash again with the crypto wizard and all that. Learned, grew, expanded, and had to separate what I thought I know to kind of make it. But again, even I'm not profitable every single day. I still have losses here and there. It's about the losses being smaller than the
Yeah.
wins. And again, if you lose and you lose, just take a break for a bit, step away, refresh, come back. Don't try to do it. You're not going to come on tomorrow and say, okay, I'm going to join Hyro tomorrow and I'm going to make, 100K in a day or whatever. It doesn't work like that. Having that mindset is how you're going to fail. And it's good to be passionate and want to grow and do it, but you need to be realistic with your expectations. And I think it's a shame that you see a lot of YouTube videos and all this stuff out there and all this Instagram stuff telling people, hey, send me $1,000 and I'm going to turn it into $5,000 or whatever. And it preys on people that do need that money or, have a
Yeah,
challenge or financial difficulty now. And they think of it as, hey, this is a way out. This is my option. And just realize that nothing is that easy. If it was that easy, everyone would be wealthy and having a great time.
true. It's true. It's true. Well, thank you for your time and thank you for answering all my questions. It was really interesting to talk to you. And thank you for sharing all your knowledges and your journey about your trading life and not trading life. It was really pleasant for me to talk to you. And I wish you success in your all projects and with the projects that you are currently working with. I hope that this project will work all over the world and every person will be able to put its work to this and also take some benefits. So
No, I
thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much for your time
Yeah,
and
thank you very
see you
much.
next time.
Yeah, see you next time. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you. Enjoy your evening.
Yeah,
Bye.
you too. Take care.